everybody, and welcome to the Psyched Out podcast. It took a while to get everyone together, but we're finally here. This is great. Today, we are talking about equality and equity and telling
Let's
the
do it.
audience, you guys, our views on each side socially and economically, and whether you support each side or not. A lot of people think equality and equity are the same thing because they sound the same, they kind of look the same, but they're not.
How do
Equality,
you know what they look like?
the words.
Yeah. I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
know
okay,
what the
okay.
difference of
Yeah.
them were when I first looked at it, so
Yeah,
it's good.
it's confusing. So equality is when two or more things are or have the same value. Let's say Lucas wants some apples because apples are good for you.
Thank you.
Um, I'll have to give everyone the same amount of apples that I give to Lucas for everyone to have
What if I want
quality.
one more?
That's not equality.
Yeah,
Damn
then
it.
he's
Everyone
gonna
has
have to
the
give
same
everybody.
amount of apples.
Alright, that's fair.
Or if I'm the boss at a restaurant and I want to give my head chef a raise, I'd have to give all of the other chefs, possibly my whole staff, a raise. And
Well,
equity,
one's
go.
one's better than the
Right.
other. Like that's why it's called a head chef. So
Yeah, no. Okay.
True,
What he's
true.
trying to say? What he's trying to say is equity is like you have to earn your money. You have
right,
to
right. Yeah, I know.
earn equality. You have to work towards it. You can't just let it be handed to you.
Yes. And equity is giving everyone what they need or what is needed to become successful and to become equal.
Why is there a
Um,
semi-truck in my parking lot? What the hell?
all right.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. So does everyone agree with these definitions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Um, Now the difference between equality and equity, if we give everyone the exact same thing, we're expecting that will make everyone equal, and we have to
Make
assume
every
that everyone is starting out at the same place. So I'm gonna give you another example here. Um, so person A has $10, person B has $5, and person C has absolutely nothing. For the equality example in this situation, if I give everyone another $10, person A would have $20, person B would have 15, and person C would have 10. So persons B and C would still have less than person A. So everyone's still not equal, even though I gave everyone the exact same thing.
they have to
And
work.
then there would still be issues
They have to
because
work.
someone is on the bottom and someone's on the top. For equity, if I wanted everyone to have $20, I would give them what they need to get to $20. So if person A, I would give $10, person B, I would give 15, and person C, I would give 20. So that they all have $20, and no one can argue about having the same amount of money. Thoughts and questions on that?
No, sir.
No,
Oh,
clear.
No.
Right. So when we grew up, or as we're growing up, we're all told that fairness was treating everyone equally, and that there is a great American saying where you have to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. Have you all heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
Hi,
haven't.
baby.
I've heard something like that though. So
Yeah,
what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
something along the lines of the same thing, but not
Yeah.
necessarily that.
And that everyone can be successful if you just work hard enough.
Yeah.
Um, and it makes a lot of sense. Um, And it makes it a lot easier if some of us grew up with longer arms, quote unquote, to pull up those bootstraps, or were given longer bootstraps when we bought the boots. Does that make sense?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
I don't
Doesn't make
really
no
get
sense.
that too much, but it kind of clicks just a little bit. Like if you
It-
could
it-
maybe rephrase it
It's
just a
enough to
little bit.
understand.
Yeah, it's the metaphor that you have to pull
Meta-
yourself up by your own bootstraps. You have to pull.
Metaphor.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
I've
that
heard that one. Yeah.
some people are given longer bootstraps, so it's easier to reach them, or you have given longer arms to pull up those bootstraps.
Yeah.
So some people have more advantages than others.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was a quote by a man named Nahid Dasani, and which is equality is giving everyone a shoe. Equity is giving everyone a shoe that fits. Now, moving aside from the shoe business and bootstraps and all that, let's go into the nitty gritty, complicated things.
Politics.
No, the social and economic equality versus equity. Now, the economic section of this is the easiest of the two.
Yeah.
So we're going to go in that order, and I'm going to ask you guys which side you support on economic equality versus equity. So, Unmute Gaming, you can start first.
Wait. So what one did you want me to start with again, just in case?
Economic equality versus equity.
So I guess like economic equality. I mean, I don't really think about it too much, but I know that I believe in it because everyone should be equal. Everyone has a right to be equal and be treated the same. But you know, everyone. I'm trying to think of the word. Everyone, like you said.
Explain the word.
I can't even explain it. I'm kind of out of it. I haven't been getting too much sleep lately, but
It's good.
But everyone should be equal. Is all I'm trying to say. Like everyone should have like the equality that should like like how people have been for years been getting the rights that they now have, and like some people, even though they still have those rights, don't even get treated the same, even though they work so hard for it, which is kind of like equity. They worked for it. They put in effort to get where they are, and that's why they should definitely be treated equal. Even before that, they should have been treated equal because we're all human. It's humane. But I mean, I guess that's all I really got for my insight of equality and equity, because I don't really go into depth on topics like these, to be honest with you. I'm kind of just a simple think if it's right or wrong kind of guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Thank you. Now, the other Tyler, go.
Right. We're talking about economic equity, which is like every business, so to say, will have equal pay, equal everything. Kind of.
Yeah. Just your views on economic equality versus equity. Why you support it?
So in my head, if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, every business started off small.
Yeah.
And they've all worked to be bigger businesses. And the reason that kind of the economy is doing well right now is because pretty much everybody's getting that extra funding that it needs to be equal. But
I mean, some businesses had more to start off with.
Yeah.
Like if it was a richer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The smaller businesses were given money, and medium-sized businesses were given the little extra buck that they needed to, expand, so to say.
Yeah.
And if they did not have that money, they'd still be a small business. Look at bigger companies, they would start off small at some point. I do believe that in the business aspect, you have to start somewhere. And you can't, like, there's no way that in a business aspect that you can take, for example, company A and company B and make them both equal. Company A would target, hold on. They both target the exact same thing. Company A wants to be bigger than company B. Company B wants to be bigger than company A. So one of them is going to eventually find a way to be bigger because they're working towards it. And company B will stay the same because company A, I guess, wants to have more money, wants to, expand their name, so to say. Yeah, like businesses need to be equal, so to say, but it's also how the businesses run and how people are, how the people work in it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
let me just you support that equity side of
Yeah.
it, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Unmute Gaming, you support the equality.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixture of both, but I lean towards more equality.
Okay, cool. All right, Lucas, take it away.
Well, I guess the closest thing I have to relate to this stuff would be school, since I'm currently still in it, unfortunately. But I guess how I'd see it is I think in equity in terms of, especially for school, I think it would be very important because I remember the school I went to was Jefferson, and from the time I first got there and by the time I left, it was a completely different place. And what I mean by that is, say, from my kindergarten to second grade year, like my class was literally in a trailer disconnected from the school.
Wow.
Like you had to walk from the main school outside about like a yard, not a yard, sorry, like probably like 20 yards or so, and you get to this little trailer, and that's where the second grade class was. And
Wow.
and of course at that time it was a lot poorer just in general. I don't mean to say poor as in a bad way, but it's just the state that it was in. And the students were, from what I remember, were pretty limited in terms of what they had to use, like their resources. And by the time I reached my third or second grade, the school was completely renovated. And at that point, the kids in it all had access to either a laptop, computer, iPad, Kindle, something. But even though that was the case with my school, I still noticed that there are a lot of like older schools in Maine as well. And so while my school and my middle school might have gotten that upgrade, I still realize that if you go say 20 miles down the road, you'll find another school that is in the same position as mine just was. And it's almost as if, while it's good to provide people with the benefits when they can like get them, the upgrades when they can afford them, there's still going to be kids in the other school that aren't in the same starting point just because of the fact that they don't have access to these same resources. And so I think equity in terms of schooling would be extremely important because you want to be able to provide a fair starting point for each student as they're coming up. And when some students are limited to like one computer per classroom, but others have one to themselves, it can be very complicated and sometimes very unfair. But that's my stance on it.
That was great. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was
I love that
Yeah.
example. Alrighty, Leiden, take it away.
Wait, so just to clarify, we're making arguments for both and then choosing our side, right?
Or choose your side and why.
Oh, okay.
See, puppy.
But you can definitely explain why you feel like another way would be better or worse too.
Right. All right. Well, I'm just gonna start by saying my side. I'd rather everyone have equity instead of equality, because if you give everyone the same thing all the time and everyone's just equal, the world's gonna be really similar. It's gonna be really bland. There's gonna be no like flavor to life, But
Yeah.
if you give everyone the foundation, to say, for a house, some people are gonna rise to the top, and they're gonna be really motivated, and they're gonna be driven to succeed, and then there are gonna be others that are going to be too lazy to, and just forget about it. So, and I think that's a good part of our world, that not saying it's a good thing, not everyone's equal, but I'm saying it's a good thing some people are more driven than others, because it really defines them as people, and I think that's good. So yeah, that was pretty quick, but that was my stand on.
But it was straightforward, and that was an awesome example as well. So you support equity because people who you support it because you believe in that hard work and motivation aspect of life, correct?
Yes. Yep.
That's
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
cool.
actually starting to think I'm leaning towards equity just a little bit because I'm starting to get changed
Short
around.
but simple.
Exactly.
Good. And this is the whole reason why we're doing this podcast is we're making people aware of what each side means, and not to say that it should be divided because it should not. We should all be in one group together. But it's just making people more aware of what people think and how they can think about other situations. And
Yeah, like how other people have their insights on things.
yes, and yeah, this is turning out great.
Mm.
Thank you guys.
Hey.
Isaac, already. Last but not least, you, my friend.
So there's like different things with economic equality and economic equity. Like, see, I can see how people with supporting economic equality support that because like the economy, it's fair game. You work for what you get. But with equity, it's just a different thing because impoverished people, in order to make sure, well, people just need to be given what they need to in order to succeed. Like with the impoverished people, like they might not be able to get a job because they were a felon at one point, and so like they're gonna have a hard time getting a job. So uh, back during the presidential election, Andrew Yang actually ran, and he and his freedom dividend was a form of universal basic income that allowed people to like get what they needed in order to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that would have been really great for the American people, especially during quarantine when many people lost their jobs, and so people couldn't really get by. But there were the I'm forgetting what they were called, but like
Stimulus checks.
Yes, stimulus checks. Thank you. But many people got stimulus checks, but those came very like spaced out, I guess. There was only like two, right?
There was 2 stimulus checks, and then if you are on unemployment,
Yeah, there was also unemployment
got
checks as well.
Oh yeah. So I feel like this pandemic, it really is setting up this country to like realize that something like the universal basic income is something that'd be really important to making sure that people can thrive even when they are financially disadvantaged.
I like that.
Yeah.
That was great. I like how you.
Also to add on to that, if you were given the stimulus check or you were given unemployment because of this pandemic, the way that my mom and I used it was to get our necessities. And after we got necessities, we maybe splurged a little bit. Just a little bit. But the way that other people probably have used that extra $900 plus that extra whatever, they probably use that on either stuff they actually needed or stuff they wanted. Like there was no in between. You know?
Yeah. What I just a couple things that I picked up out of this. So Isaac, you mentioned the economic equity was to work for what you get.
No, that's
Correct?
what I said about equality. Like the economy is a kind of fair game. You work for what you get.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that also brings me to Leiden's example on this, his equity example. But when he mentioned the motivation aspect of it, which is a whole different ballpark, because some people will use those stimulus checks or other types of income, whether it's pandemic or not, to not use it wisely and spend it on just stupid things that they don't need, like drugs.
Necessities of that are
Yeah,
not like something you need. Like for instance, like me, for instance, whenever I get a job, I for some reason always spend my money on a new game because I'm addicted to gaming. So
Yeah. So,
that's
but do you
not-
complain that you don't have enough money? Unmute.
um sometimes when something else happens, like if I need to go for food or anything like that, sometimes I will, and then I will regret buying the game, and then I'll
Mhm.
probably for a while, eventually be like, let's save our money up like I'm doing right now because I'm a senior. You know this. I go to the same
Yeah.
school with you.
Yep.
I'm gonna be out on my own next year. I
That's true.
gotta save up and fend for myself soon. So I gotta learn to act quick.
Yeah, and that is another issue for us speaking about all of this as well, especially economic point of view, because we are not adults. We don't have to provide for ourselves yet. Um, and that's something I feel like a lot of people are going to be talking about also um, to us after this podcast is released. That we just don't have that experience of providing for ourselves and sparing our money and saving it up. And so we don't really know what it's like to be broke and to have that panic and to have that regret of not being able to support yourself and who knows whoever else you're living with, girlfriend, boyfriend, kids, maybe. It's it's complicated, and some people just don't know that yet. And
Yeah,
it's
no, one
Yeah.
part of it, one part about it is that one of the things I always constantly hear from my parents, at least, is that while the idea of providing people with the necessary means to progress in life as they see fit
yeah,
sounds great on paper, it's just that where does that resource come from? It has to come from somewhere, and if it ends up coming out of the pockets of other people, then how is that fair to those that are,
I want to work for it.
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
because some people would rather work for their money. It because it gives them a more of a it gives them self pride, self confidence,
yeah,
self
Motivation to
achievement.
keep going.
Yes,
mm,
exactly. Like Tyler, you have your YouTube. Unmute Gaming. You have your
Oh, you can
YouTube
say my
channel.
Motivation
name.
to not
You can
kill
say my name.
Oh
I
yeah,
themselves.
don't mind
so
it.
we have two Tylers on this podcast.
Oh
One of
yeah, I
them
forgot
has a
that.
YouTube channel called Unmute Gaming. I'll post it on my YouTube's video for this
Thank you,
podcast.
thank
Go
you.
check him out. He's very, very entertaining. But Tyler, do you work for those subscribers and the views and the likes?
Yeah,
You work for that.
I put effort in every day. I usually spend a couple hours recording, and then I'll do a couple hours editing, and I won't even finish videos on time sometimes. I mean, I've had to push things off because of school starting up, and then when Corona hit, or
Yeah.
COVID, or whatever you want to call it, it kind of also flew me in separate directions on, well, like, what do I do? So I've had to try to keep it maintained. I've lost subs, but I've also gained a very big amount in a very which is getting me back into it, and I'm very glad about that.
Good.
But along
Yeah.
with that comes with school, and now that I also have a job for income and whatnot, I have to
Yeah.
balance those two things along with
mm,
having fun and uploading. So it's kind of tough,
Yeah.
but
But sooner or later, or you are working towards that monetization, correct?
yeah, I'm not so. I will say I'm not so friendly on the words on my channel. I will admit that.
But
But I
hey,
I
hey, I
know.
think we're all like that. I think we're
Yeah,
all
yeah, yeah. I know that eventually, if I ever do get big enough, I will probably start to slim down on swearing and stuff like that. Just so,
Yeah.
because the reason why I started YouTube is because I was inspired by so many other creators. Because I've
Yeah.
always wanted to be a creator
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah.
and um, I want to live off of that. I want to have fun while also letting people have fun by watching my content. I love to hear reactions of people saying, I love your content. I love watching your stuff. Your stuff makes me happy. Your stuff makes me have a good day. Like I've had a couple of those comments, and it really hits in the heart, because
Yeah.
it's like, man,
It's
I
it.
really made someone's day better.
Yeah. It's so for you, it's not about the money. It's because you still have a long way to go before that.
Oh
But
yeah,
you're you're in it for the enjoyment of making others' days.
yeah. I love making other people's days, and I make sure that if I upload anything offensive, I make sure to put offensive in the title so people
Yeah.
know that If they
I've seen it.
don't want to
Yep.
click on it because it's offensive, that's fine with them. If they don't like it, they can dislike it. I tell them that at the end of the videos. I want honest feedback. That's all I'm looking for.
That's great. And Lucas, like you said earlier, they give these checks to people as they see fit. Some people, like Tyler, are not always in it for the money. They're in it for making other people happy and giving them a form of entertainment and enjoyment. Because that's what he likes to do. That's his personality. That's him as a good Samaritan. Yeah. But other people do need it and do want it.
Hold on. You want to know who else works as hard as Tyler?
Oh my God. Go ahead.
My mom.
All
Alright, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
There's like
You
always gotta sneak in one of those.
Second.
Yeah, exactly.
Alright, let's move on.
Okay. Does anyone else want to say something real quick about the economic? Oh, I still need to tell you what I think. So,
Oh, yeah.
Well, no one really gives a.
real quick.
Yeah, Avery making us do everything over here.
Yeah, well, I'm just navigating everything. All right, so I believe in equity, in economic equality versus equity, because I believe that we all, if we all gain the same thing. So let's say we all are unequal, which we are now, and so everyone was given $1 million. It would make the richer even richer, because that's equality. You're giving everyone the same thing. The richer are getting richer. The poor, they are getting $1 million, which is great for them. We're talking everyone, homeless, broke, everybody is getting $1 million. But still, those who had absolutely nothing and were at the bottom of the bottom 1% are still the bottom 1%.
But can I say something real quick?
Yes.
Just a quick point. But say if you give everyone $1 million, then it's not really worth much, because if you're giving everyone that, everyone in the world that kind of money, it doesn't really give anyone an advantage over anyone.
Exactly.
Obviously, people already have more money, but
yeah, that's what I was just about to get into. That $1 million on the 1%, on the bottom 1% becomes the new broke, because it's the lowest. And then inflation is going to go up like crazy. Prices are going to go up like crazy because everyone else has more money. They have more stuff. And some people are just also going to blow that on other things. And while they're doing that, everything else, all prices of everything is going to go up and up and up. And those who blow their $1 million on tons of unnecessary things are going to be behind once again. And the rich are going to be even richer.
The true meaning of equality, though, is everybody has the same amount of money at all times.
But that's where things get iffy, because equality is giving everyone the same thing. Equity is giving everyone what they need to be equal. So equality in this case, Tyler, in my opinion, for economics, is you're giving everyone the same thing. Like you're giving everyone $1 million, but then that million for the broke becomes the new zero, and the richer are just even richer.
But you also said some of the broke people are just going to use it all up and not invest and not make the money. But
that's just an assumption, because why are you broke in the first place? It could be a totally different reason. Yeah, but there are going to be some people who will not invest that or use it for good, like necessities even, or to get themselves off their feet. Like $1 million is a ton of money still today, but some people are still going to blow it because they just don't have a good history with money. They don't know how to control it. But the equity part is you're giving everyone the same amount of money, not the same, but you're giving everyone the amount that they need to be equal. So let's say everyone should have a certain a net worth of just 5 million. You're giving everyone on the bottom enough that they need to get that 5 million, and everyone on the top, you're not giving them anything because they already have more than that. So if anything, you'd be taking it away, and that's when things would get really, really iffy and really that would spread a lot of more conflict as well. Um, I just realized because if you're already on the top, would equity and as I'm explaining this, I'm already coming up with a new question. Yeah, if equity is giving everyone the exact same thing to be equal, the people who are already above the quote unquote equal status, are they getting nothing or are they getting things taken away from them?
Okay, Avery,
Because
the true meaning of equality, and I'm gonna say this one more
it's giving
time.
everyone the same thing.
Yeah, it's giving everybody the same thing and it not changing.
True.
You can make hold on, Avery. I'm not done talking.
Okay.
I'm not done talking. Or I should be like Kamala Harris. I'm speaking.
Okay.
Anyway,
I
Oh, okay.
when you're giving everybody the same amount of money, they're gonna have to keep that 5 million. You're gonna keep giving them 5 million. You're gonna keep giving them 5 million. So everybody's the same, and you're gonna take the money from the rich and give it to the poor, kind of like what
Yes.
Robin Hood did.
Yeah, Robin Hood.
Yeah.
That's true equality.
Robin Hood 2020.
Robin Hood
that's
2020.
Wouldn't the challenge with doing that though being able to constantly come up with that amount of money?
Yeah, you can't. There's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So the
True.
equity is better because you're giving people just a little bit of money, little bit,
To get where they need to be.
to get what they need to survive, not to be rich, not to live in a mansion, not driving a Bugatti.
But enough to know how, just enough resources, or in this case, money,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to.
Then what are you gonna do with the rich people? That's not. You're giving
That is
people,
another question.
money to the poor, enough money to get them off their feet. You're not feeding them money every week, every month, like I
True.
guess employment, like what
You're,
true equality is.
yeah.
So equity pretty much wins because with equality, you're just gonna keep giving them money. You're just gonna keep.
Yeah, and then there's just the gap is still there. That huge gap is still there. So yeah, I do support the equity part of that. Yeah.
If everybody agrees, let's move on.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
also I
that
just
was-
want to say what I see is like equality is you know, the income of something, and then equity is kind of like the outcome of something being equal, and then like the income of something being equal is equality, if that makes any sense. Because like if the income is all the same, that's what you're saying is there equality, but at the end no one would be the same for the same amount of money in their pockets. But
Yeah, I get what you mean.
equality, equity. I don't know why I say equality. Equity would be like you said, at the end, everyone gets the same amount. So it's like all equal. So everyone has the same amount to work with. So no one's under and no one's over.
Yeah.
Did that make any sense?
Yes, that did, and that's a good point to stop on the economic part. So I originally thought this was going to be just at least I was aiming for a 1 hour or 45 to 1 hour minute podcast. But I see that
It's longer. Let's just get through everything.
exactly, and you know what? If I'd say this is going very well so far, and whoever wants to sit and keep on watching, keep on doing that. And this is going to get only better from here. So you guys are doing great.
You want to
Okay.
know what else is getting better from here? Mine.
I see skies blue.
Okay. Moving on, boys. Now we're going to move on to the social aspect of equality versus equity. And now this is where things get really hard to talk about for many different reasons. Not only because this is probably going to take up more than a half an hour, like it did with the economic, because economic is the simpler side of this. But when we talk socially, we think of society, race, gender, social status, and being treated kindly no matter your spot in society. But everyone deserves to be treated right. But that raises another question. What does that mean? What is
But
being treated
we'll get to it.
mean? Yeah, we will get to that. This can lead to major criticism and judgment and conflict based on what people say about all these different types of conflicts within the social topic. Because there's a lot of different views and there's a lot of different opinions on what others have to say. There's also a wide variety to cover, so let's get right into it. The first section of the social equality versus equity is race equality versus equity. We're going to start with Unmute Gaming. What do you think about race equality versus equity?
So, race equality versus equity, I think of it as like, honestly, everyone should be equal. We're all human. I mean, I think I kind of messed up both I messed up my first equality with equity thing. I kind of mixed it in with this, but everyone with the same race, not the same race. Everyone with a different race should be equal because we're all human. We're all the same. It's just, different race. It shouldn't really matter. But sadly, for other races, they've had to basically be put into a equity state where they had to earn their rights, which is completely absurd, I feel like, because no one should have to go through the stuff that they have gone through just for just to be equal with everyone else. But all in all, that's all I really have. I think that all races should be equal. There's not really anything that anyone should do or like have to do to become equal. It should just flat out be equal. I don't know why people have to gain rights like others.
That's just straight up facts.
Honestly, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's the good old judging a book by its cover. It doesn't make any sense. You have to see the inside, and on the inside, we're all the same.
Yep. Our anatomy and physiology is all the same. We are all a human. We are all human. Just like a book. Books are all books.
Books are all
Even
books.
though we have different covers, we're all books.
Yeah, some are shittier than others, but
we're
still,
all paper. We're all paper and ink.
Yeah. I mean, it's absurd to think that someone with a different amount of melanin is lesser or better than you.
Yeah.
That's true. Tyler, go.
I agree with equality. I am, I guess you would say I am a Jewish Middle Eastern boy, so to say. Man, boy, I don't know what you would say. And I'm living right now in Maine.
Oh,
which is a very, very white. Wait.
About as white as it gets.
Yeah. Other than Alabama and Texas. I'm sorry, Tyler. Go on.
It's fine. I was gonna say that. It's all good. So like.
Alabama and Texas are both really black, actually.
Which is probably one of the most, if not the most, white and race. There's really like one race, white, and one religion, pretty much Christianity or any form of Christianity. And like I have in my couple years in being here experienced racism towards religion.
Yeah.
And it is not fun. I know how it feels.
Like racism for your me being ethnicity and religion?
Yes, a little bit of both, I guess you'd say. Anyway, like we live in a society where it's like we judge a book by its cover, kind of. We do, but like we don't, It's like we look at somebody and for example, we look at a black man, oh, he's gonna go steal something. We look at a white man, oh, he's gonna go gonna go call the cops on that black man because he's black. Oh, he's gonna go Arab person. He's gonna go blow up something.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry that you have to deal with that. That's really not cool.
It's a crazy world we live in. Like we just need to be equal, and it shouldn't be it should be worked towards, but kind of just like given.
and accepted, because we're all human.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then that does all come around to we are all human, and there's no reason why we should be treated differently, because the past, a lot of people have, of course, gotten their views from the past and what has happened to each race in the past. I keep saying that. But the past is there to remind the present how to change the future.
Mm-hmm. I
The
guess.
past is there
Well
to
said.
copy.
Like it should
go.
be given. Equality should be given
For race.
everybody. But like for some people, it's gonna be like, oh, it's not enough. We want more. But what more can we give them?
Exactly.
Well, you wouldn't be able to give them more, because then no one would be equal. You'd have to give more to everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
And then where would that draw the line? Where would enough be? Where would that line be?
Like, okay, personally, I agree. I am not like I know we're not really supposed to go too political, but I do believe that BLM is a real thing. However, it's used right now and not the best way.
Used in the wrong way.
Yeah, it's used in
And so what they want is black equality, which we give them black equality. But you've also got to think, the minute that they get equality, what else are they going to do? Because they've rioted, they've stole, they've done stuff that really shouldn't happen. Because one black person dying, if you think about it, it's not equality to go yell. Like, I saw this on the news the other day. This BLM protester went up to this white guy that was just sitting with his, I think, girlfriend or wife, and they were getting in his face, invading his personal space, especially during COVID.
Yeah.
And they're like, yo, put your fist up. No, that guy has the right to say no. That guy has the right to say, I don't want this. It's like they want equality, which I respect, but the way that they're going about it is not the best.
But before we move on to the next person, sorry about the length.
It's good. I was done anyway.
It's okay. A lot of people who support BLM say that, one, claim, not everyone, but most of them claim that if you don't support BLM, it means you're racist.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that.
For Trump.
But does it? Because not supporting the BLM movement doesn't mean you, in my opinions, I'm just gonna throw out my opinions, I guess now. Doesn't necessarily mean that you don't support them. You just don't support this particular movement, because there's a lot of other races and ethnicities that are also being treated unfairly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Jewish people have been accused a lot longer than blacks.
And you've got Asian as well, and God, so many more. Hispanic. What does that mean to them? If you're only supporting BLM, what does that mean to all the others?
Yeah.
And other people may argue, which I think the BLM movement is okay, but to certain situations, like what was happening 4 years ago when Trump was taking office, was a lot of police were shooting black people, and it exploded into the media like it was happening much more than it should have been, and it shouldn't have happened at all, but it was happening more frequently, and people were freaking out about it. And I think that was appropriate to use that BLM movement in that situation, because the other races weren't getting as much bullets to them at that time as the black community, which is what the media portrayed. And I think that was an appropriate time to use the BLM movement to make people more aware of what was happening to the black community at that time. But to say only BLM all the time is excessive.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
it singles out a community too much.
It does.
The fact that everyone should be equal. And hence all lives matter. So that's I just told you my opinion on the freaking race equality. So I believe in equality. All the lives matter, all races, everyone. But at certain times, it's appropriate to single out a community.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that I do believe in BLM, but I just don't believe in the way that they're going about it. They should go about it way differently.
Yeah.
Like
They shouldn't be fighting. Really.
yeah, like it's not showing a good example, honestly. If you're looking to get like I guess somewhere but not really somewhere, you shouldn't really like violence shouldn't really be the answer, you know, because there's already enough violence as there is. There's already enough people dying from things that are stupid, like for instance, like how people have died from the rioting, people have died from other events, from the rioting and other stuff. It's just not the right way to handle it. But if they're to handle it differently, I believe that it'd be looked at differently and things would be a lot better, honestly.
Thank you for that, and that was great. Moving on quickly. Lucas, go, take it away.
I think that equality is the goal and equity might be the way to get there. Because I think that one thing that the BLM movement I think does is that you take the movement and you take away everything that's associated with it. I don't know anyone that would say that Black lives don't matter. You take away everything that's associated with the movement and the statement itself. I don't see anyone disagreeing with that. And I do see people, however, using that movement as a cover to achieve other goals or as an excuse to say riot. I don't know if excuse to be the right word, but it's used and it's possibly mishandled in the way it's been done. But I think that unfortunately the state that we're in now, because of our past, there are definitely certain communities of people that are at a disadvantage compared to others. And I think that while equality is what we need, the way to get there would be to provide the people in a disadvantage to others the resources that they need so that they can also be treated as fairly as everyone else. And I just think that with everything that is going on right now in terms of BLM movement or people against it, I think that everyone would probably stand together and like fight for equality if it was done in a peaceful and responsible way.
I love that. That was very, very. That was great. I love all of your responses are great. This is great. Leiden, go.
Well, obviously, I believe everyone should be equal. I think everyone is equal, but obviously, as a lot of other people
Already?
say, everyone's not always treated equal, which is a sad thing.
So you believe everyone's equal already, correct?
Everyone, yeah, I believe, if I look at someone of different color, I'm not going to think any less of them. But some people, I'm gonna say most people probably believe the same as us. But there are always some people, just like there are always some bad cops, right? And I'm just gonna take this as an example. In my history teacher's class, he has a little poster thing that says, "Racism is the affliction and knowledge is the cure." And I think that's a really good saying because a lot of people tend to like, whenever they don't know something about a culture, for example, say a lot of, the Jewish people have been through a lot of hardships throughout history, a lot of discrimination, and a lot of people just didn't understand their culture. So as a way of, coping with it, let's say, they made fun of it and, discriminated against them.
You don't see that in the mainstream news.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But I get what you mean, though, is people almost have an unconscious bias sometimes. But with more introduction to diversity as a whole, these biases can be broken.
Right. And also with the BLM movement, I believe the idea of it is really good, but what's actually happening is not. And
It's the
I
opposite.
think, yeah, exactly. And I think saying BLM, personally, I think saying that's racist, because I know a lot of people say, "Oh, all lives matter until Black lives matter," but I just think that's a childish thing to say. And I think, we should just say if everyone's equal and everyone should be treated equal, then all lives matter, right? Because we're no different from the next one of us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a
Isaac,
very fair
my
statement.
friend, haven't heard it from you for quite a while. Take it away. Blow us away.
Alrighty. So now, Black Lives Matter is a movement that I support 110% of the way. Like, although I have heard quite a bit about the violence, I'm not hearing nearly anything about the peaceful nature of the movement. From what I've seen, the major media sources are reporting on almost exclusively the violence. Now, this is like major media sources like Fox, CNN, like reporting on this is creating a sort of echo chamber. So it's just throwing the same information. It's not really reflecting the peaceful nature, like the peaceful meaning behind it and like the peaceful protests. From what I've seen in real life, like in my actual life and not on the news and the media, like in protests that I've seen, like many of them are actually quite peaceful and like major news sources, they're quote unquote merchants of chaos. So they really want to report on what is going to get views and get them money. So they're going to report on the violence. And because of that, it's just creating a storm of political divides, really. And I think that I just think that the BLM movement, because of, well, I should rather say the Black Lives Matter movement is getting some hatred for that because of that echo chamber that's being created by major news outlets.
Do you think that the response to the movement would be different if the media covered broader aspects of it and not just focus primarily on the violent parts of it?
Oh yeah, like it would create a massive difference because like I've said, major news outlets are just reporting on the violence to get views. So it's creating a bad image for the movement. Like
Yeah.
I'm not what's the word? Like I'm trying to, like, I am acknowledging that there is violence in the movement, and I don't support that violence whatsoever, but it's just the major news outlets are really taking away from the peaceful aspect of the movement, which is creating just a lot of people having negative views for not really negative views for the movement, but just creating a skewed view of what the movement really is.
Can I say something quickly? Just a quick thing.
Yes. Yeah.
And going off of Isaac's point, I feel like the media is trying to divide us more than to reunite us.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like we already
And
have
that's-
different
yeah.
political parties, but we used to be one, and now the media is like it's crazy.
Like
It's
Yeah,
all
they're
say
kind of hammering down on the pressure.
liberal or conservative media, they're just bashing the other side and looking at all their
You've also got to think
Yeah,
the
go.
reason that all these it's not really the reason, but the reason that the BLM movement is blaming the riots is because of President Trump. Like I don't like him, but you can't just blame
Someone for everything wrong.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's everybody's fault that that guy died.
Yeah, it's a collective.
You can't just be like, oh, Trump didn't do anything about it. What can he do? Really?
It's the question that you're not trying to accuse someone not doing anything. The question is, what can this person do to fix this problem? And if they don't try to fix the problem, that is an issue. That is the problem. It's not the fact that um, that this one person is the fault. It's how can they fix it and everyone else to not have
It,
any one person be that blame.
it feeds back into what was said about how news media it almost seems in a sense is being used to divide people, and it's come to this point where it's almost this tribal mindset that people get into, where it's my side versus your side, and if you're on the other side, then you're bad. But I think the problem with thinking that way is that it's so narrow-minded and one-sided that you start to distance yourself from the possibly better views, not better, but other views that people could have that are different from yours. And how could a conclusion be reached when you aren't willing to listen to other people and come to an agreement?
Yeah. Just a reminder, everyone. We're kind of we're kind of veering off it a little bit too much and heading towards more political and uh, aspects, but which are very good examples for this current time for race, equality, and equity. I like it, but let's try to remember not to get strayed too far from it.
Mm.
I have one more question before we move on to our next section for Tyler. The not unmute gaming.
Okay.
Tyler, so the racism you may have experienced in well, your ethnicity and religion, I can't really. I mean, I'm an atheist. I don't support religion. I mean, I don't. It's confusing to me. That's what I should say. I don't get it. But I haven't suppressed yours in any way, right?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
When you're prosecuted, or I'm gonna bring an example that you probably remember.
Hmm.
Well, no, I'm not gonna do that. I really don't want to say that.
Okay.
It's
But
it's a crazy feeling. It
yeah.
gives you anxiety.
True. Okay. But for further on, I'm using that as a guide to my next question. Do you think that your community is like left in the shadows in terms of equality and equity for race? Like, do you
Yeah,
think your community specifically is like left out more than the others at all?
I mean, so like, if you really did your research and history, we've been oppressed since like the dawn of time,
Yeah.
or since like stuff was like written, and so we like right now, if I were to go for a job interview, I have a chance of not getting it because I'm a Jew. And stereotypical thing is either we're really, really good with money or we steal your money. And it is
That's a
not
total stereotype. Yeah,
it's
that's not the case.
not the case. I would never do that.
Yeah.
But like I have that chance of not getting the job because I'm Jewish. And
And
it is
that's I'm sorry to put you on the spotlight like that, but like you're the
no, I
only one
really
here
don't care.
we can turn to have a good view on the race equality and equity. But yeah, thank you for that answer. So, do we all agree that equality is what is the solution to this?
Well, I do have a little bit more to add on to get back to like equality and equity. I
Mm,
think, in my opinion, like social equality is like treating people with respect, no matter the race, like treating people with respect and consideration, no matter the race. although this is like extremely important, social equality really goes as far as like treating people with respect and giving the opportunity to achieve something, not really the chances or odds, I suppose. With social equity, like, for example, a young black woman headed to a college of her choice would have a harder time than her white male counterpart. She would,
Sure.
it would be, it's just statistically, like, it's been documented, like, people of color or women, like, especially like women of color, they have a harder time getting into like a college of their choice, or, I suppose.
Yeah, and that is true. If you just go look at charts or just the numbers, it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now
And
I
Avery. So just like this is just like a mentioning thing, like when we were talking about the media, I actually have a graph of like political biases within news companies I could send you if you'd like.
that'd be great. Yeah, yeah, that'd be cool. We'll use that for a future podcast. Yeah. So we've spent about a half an hour on that, just like the other one. Sorry, that was my Alexa. Now stop. Okay. Now moving on to gender equality and equity. This one I think is one of the worst. Just to like, there's just a lot going on about gender in this age, and so just fair warning. Try to keep it, on the down low about trying to offend anyone else, but I do not discourage you to say your opinions if you want.
Right.
You gaming. What do you, which side are you on about gender equality versus equity?
Well, of course, I'm still on equality because
Yeah.
it's just a different gender. I mean, sure, it's like some things are different, but I mean, it's overall we're still human. We're all still the same, like race, if you know what I mean. But I don't see why the view of like woman is like either stay at home like kind of view, or like how like usually they'll have like a lower paying job. People view that as a thing, or like they
That
won't
is,
get
yeah.
other things. Like I don't understand why that has to be the view, and why that is unfortunately what actually mostly happens sometimes. Like people
Yeah.
like just don't treat people with the amount of like equality like people should, honestly.
Respect,
People out
even.
there.
Like,
Yeah, like
respect.
there's like no respect for anyone nowadays. It's like you're white,
But-
you're racist, you're
yeah.
like if like carry on, etc.
Yeah, like if you're a guy, you're expected by society, and Isaac, going back to your own media thing, by media and what media's portrayed about us through the years, men have to be the top. They have to
Yeah.
be they get frowned upon. They get criticized, and it's for not being quote unquote tough and the alpha. And why you can't show emotion, I don't know, because I say screw it, media. I'm not gonna do what you tell me to do. I'm gonna be my own person.
Yeah, I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna do what me wants.
And
And that's
women
honestly the
too.
view that everyone should have. Yeah, like women should be able to be themselves and do what they want, go for what they want, go have a job and not be a stay-at-home like everyone is always looking at for them, or like how people view women as objects. I still don't understand that, because they're not. They're human beings. They have a soul, they have a heart, they have a mind. They can think, they can feel. It like things. I don't understand why people have to like hurt like people based on just slight things like
Yeah.
race, like in the other topic, or gender, like in this one. It just doesn't make any sense.
And going just a little bit further deeper into the gender thing, whether you're female, male, or you identify yourself as non-binary or gender fluid or even undecided, um, my view on it all is equality, just real quick, and that I don't care what you are, what you want to be called. I will call you that to respect you, because I respect you no matter what. Even if you're someone who does bad things in my mind, I will still try to be a respectful person to you. But it doesn't matter what gender you think you are and you want to be called and you feel like, as long as you have respect for others, that's all that matters. And that you can treat others equally as well.
Yeah.
That's my view on it.
Yeah. And like another thing about is like it's not just women like I was going on about, but it's mainly another thing. It's mainly like women get a lot of harassment about stuff like that, like how like also stuff like, oh, you're showing too much cleavage. Oh, you should cover that up. Like that, you know, that kind of stuff. Like it's just like let them live them, let them be them, let them wear what they want to wear. Don't boss them around. Don't control them. They're still human.
And
This
that's
is like
the same for every gender.
yeah, same for every gender, every like other gender that's out there, whether you're trans, bi, you know, etc. or not trans or well, trans. Yeah, you know what I mean. I'm kind of rambling over here, but we can move on to the next person if that's good because I feel like I don't want to go any deeper.
Yeah, that's totally okay. All right, Tyler, take it away.
All right, well, in my head, I know that I'm gonna get attacked for this, but I believe it's either you have a penis. I'm sorry, you either got a pee or a vagina. I'm gonna say it that way. You can switch, okay? I really don't care, but like it's equality. It is equality. If somebody wants to go from man to woman, cool. I probably will still be friends with you, but I'm not gonna just be like, oh, that person's trans. Oh, I'm not gonna be friends with him or her. It's like I believe it's either you're one or the other. There is no in between. And I know I'm gonna get attacked for that, but that's me. I know we're not supposed to go too in depth into our way or our thing, but that's how I am. But I do respect people's decision to go non-binary or anything. And I just pulled up a quote that I feel works with this. As MLK said, I look to a day where when people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but their character. Which I know that's more racist, but it's can kind of go to gender equality too. It's like they're not gonna look at somebody and be like, oh, that guy, girl, is trans. We're not gonna mess with them. And I'm gonna actually get to know them before deciding if I wanna, vibe with them or not. But that's just me.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you. All right, Lucas, go.
This is one of the topics that I don't know as much about as I would think I think would be necessary, but it's something that I feel is what I think my opinion aligns with everyone else's that has been talking so far is that at the end of the day it's equality. It's being able to treat everyone the same rights as you would another person. I think that I don't know much about what it means to identify yourself as something else or to have, and I've never had feelings of I'm not in the right body or I prefer one sex over the what is expected of me to prefer. And I've never been someone that's had those feelings, but despite that, it doesn't mean that I can't sympathize or empathize with someone that is of that nature, and doesn't mean that they're lesser than me.
Yeah. Also to add on to that, like we're talking about sex and like attraction to one or the other, right?
Right.
All right. So
Yeah, sure.
I and I'm not gonna say that. I'll say it after.
As long as you keep it
Anyway.
in the ballpark of equality and equity, yes.
Yeah. And anyway, so I believe if that you like one, the other, or both, doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter to me. But you're not gonna go, don't. Or I would much rather, for example, a gay man try turning me gay, or a lesbian female turning another woman lesbian, because that is not right in any way, shape, or form. And y'all probably agree with me on it. However, you can't. It's not right.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, it's not right to force anyone to do anything against their will anyway. Like,
Yeah.
a straight person just forcing someone else to be straight who's gay because their beliefs are different, and that's total discrimination, and there's no equality or equity in that whatsoever.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So, thank you, Tyler. Light. Oh, you want to say a lot about this, don't you?
Yeah, I've been waiting for my opinion.
You've been
Big moment.
anticipating.
So, I know you feel strong about this, probably more than anyone else. So, yeah,
right.
take it away.
Kind of like Tyler, I believe, you're born with what you're born. There are two genders, there are two sexes. With that being said, if you don't feel like a woman and you want to be a man, you can switch. I'm not gonna have a problem with it, and I'm not gonna congratulate you, but I'm not gonna
okay. Sorry,
slander you.
Just don't be mad. Don't be mad if I call you the wrong pronoun.
All right. So yeah, I'm not really gonna care, and I just hope you don't shove it in their faces, or try and push your your sexual feelings on anyone else. And I believe that also it's fine to be gay, lesbian, whatever you want, but saying you're part this, part that, switching every day to what you feel like, it just doesn't make sense. To me, it's just stupid and doesn't make sense. Like, why would you want to do that? You're either a man or a woman. You're not a toaster. So.
Okay, let's not get just too opinionated here, but
that's my opinion. So
I know. But just on the equality and equity aspect, like what, like about the gender, like, do you think that and yeah, it could be neither if you feel that's your answer, but in terms of like male and female and gender fluid, non-binary, do you think?
No, I believe there's no such thing as non-binary. Like,
okay, so
you got a dick, or you got either one or the other sexual organs. So yeah.
Yeah. So what's your view on then? If you don't believe in that, then what's male or female equality and equity?
Well, I think all male and female, and gay people, so on and so forth, should be treated equally.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, Aladdin. Thank you.
Yep.
Isaac.
All right. So I feel like you guys have covered like transgender and like gender and such, like just being like transgender.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get into something that I feel like isn't touched on very much. Like, see, in divorce courts, women are especially favored, especially when it comes to child custody. I've heard many stories of like there's like times when the father is clearly the best parent for the kid to have like the best parent to have custody of the child, but because of the stigma around men being like, oh, they just like get the money, they don't take care of the children, like the father just.
Quick question before you move on, but before you keep going, sorry for interrupting, but do you know Chloe Roma by any chance?
No, I've never heard of her.
You've never heard of the Roma Army?
No.
Okay, no, never mind then. Never mind. Is it you've been saying similar stuff to what she has, so I'm like, Anyway, continue. Sorry.
But yeah, like men, the father just a lot of times don't get the custody of their child, even though they are in some cases like clearly the best fit for the child's safety and upbringing. And then another thing I'd like to touch on is like rape accusations. Like that is a very touchy subject.
Yes, yes.
But the thing about it is that there's like clearly a difference with prison sentencing. That's what I'm really thinking of right now.
Very good topic. Yeah.
Yeah,
Keep going.
it's a touchy subject, but like men do commit most acts of rape. It's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
But women, when they are in prison for rape, their sentences tend to be a lot lower than what men would get in like the same exact case, which just doesn't sit quite right with me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well,
That's great.
it's almost as if, in a social sense, people agree mostly that equality is what should be strived for, but that view isn't exactly reflected in our laws or in our regulations or how, say, like the court system works or things of that nature.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like now, I don't want to talk about like just men here. Like women getting underpaid, that's absolutely a fact. Like that happens far too often. Like women are getting underpaid compared to men. And I'm not sure how that well, I'm not really well versed on this, but I think the most bare bones thing I could say is like pay women just as much as a man would.
Yeah.
Like
That is a very big one when you think of gender equality too, like just the economic part of it.
oh
And
yeah. Like I could get more in depth on it, but that would be just straying away from gender. And then
True. And if you guys, for anyone in the audience too, watching this and listening, and anyone, my wonderful group of pals here, if you guys want, and if the audience wants to hear any specific topics that we bring up here, we can I can put together an episode for that. So if anyone wants to, let me know afterwards or in the comments or whatever.
Yes.
If you want to hear about a specific topic, we could go so long on it. So yeah, that's yeah.
like
I'm done.
shoot, what was I going to say?
Sorry, I kind of interrupted you there.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Like so with men crying, that is a very big thing. Like
Yeah.
it's not very big, but it's something that's not really a desirable thing. Like men should be allowed to cry. I've seen plenty of people like all through my childhood say that like, oh, be a man, you shouldn't cry. And like I'm gonna be honest, like throughout a lot of my childhood, I was a crier. I've been like told like I've been told like, oh, man up, stop crying.
Yeah, that's man up. That's
But
the thing. That's the sentence.
oh yeah, that's the killer sentence.
Yep.
Like it just doesn't sit right with me. Like just recently I watched a show and it was like I'm gonna be honest here, like it was a very sad show. I cried. And the thing about that is it was the first time in about a year that I've like actually cried.
Yeah.
And I think men are just like it's just so ingrained in our culture that men shouldn't cry that like some people just like men just like aren't capable of crying.
Yeah,
Or they
sees
shouldn't
men
be
as like
capable.
people that aren't supposed to feel emotion. I feel like.
I cried. I cried like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, crying's human. I don't understand why males.
Whether it's happy or sad, yeah.
You want to know
Yeah.
who else likes to cry?
Oh
Your
my
mom.
God.
Mom.
Awesome.
Isaac, I want to go back to what you were saying about the rape accusations in court. Oh shoot, I lost it. I wrote it down, but I lost what I was gonna say.
Yes.
God, it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, jeez, no, I can't. No, it was good. It was gonna continue the conversation. It was gonna be great. I forgot what it was. Oh my God, Jesus, I can't remember. I am so sorry, everyone. I should have wrote this down on my notepad a lot more clearly because
Yeah.
apparently I
Oh
have
yeah,
like
that's
short-term
what I've
memory
been
loss.
doing for a lot of this. Like I've been
Stupid.
just taking notes.
Yeah, I can hear the pens scratching. It's great, and the keyboard's typing. If those are keyboards,
Yeah, that was my keyboard. It's mechanical.
Oh,
Sorry if it's loud.
it's okay. You're fine. But it was gonna be something along the lines of that. Okay. Oh yeah, I remember. So this is another big gender issue and about equality and equity. So I can I say that everyone agrees with equality for gender
Yeah.
Well,
stuff too?
I'm not really well versed on this, so like I
Yeah,
don't really know much about the equity side. So like if
that is true. So
anybody would like to like I don't know, like I mean, if this podcast does get a Twitter account, I suppose if somebody would like to DM
I
it,
can make it.
I would gladly like to hear what you have to say about equity in terms of gender because I'm
It
open to
is.
ideas. I don't really know much about it.
Yeah, and really just the general idea of equity, giving everyone the same thing to become equal, like get to where they need to be. But it's difficult to in any equity situation. There's a line that needs to be drawn that says, okay, this is equal and this is where everyone needs to be. It's really hard to do that without numbers. That's why the social aspect of equity and equality is so um, just touched on the surface by, and everyone thinks equality is it. Well, equity, social equity is hard to come by. But I do have one example for you, Isaac, about social equity. Um,
Oh, really?
yeah, actually, I just remembered it. Take a school setting, for example. This is just apart from gender and race, but in general, equity, social equity. You have kids of all different levels of academic performance and skill.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
Okay, Alexa, I don't think you need to know that one.
Thank you for your input, Alexa. Very, very
Yeah,
well noted.
Thank you, Alexa.
Thank
Very
you.
cool.
Awesome, Alexa. I love you.
um, so yeah, take the school setting for example. You have people with many different academic skills. Equality, if you want to give everyone the same, like just academic, just so equality in this situation would be giving everyone the same amount of education in the school day, like we all do now. I think the schools are put
You're cute.
have a very a very cute and good example of equality in the academic field by giving everyone the same amount of time, the same amount of um, uh, effort into teaching a
Yes.
vast amount of group of people. But the equity part of this, if you give everyone, no matter how people who are at the bottom of their just don't have the academic skill to learn very easily, and then people who have like memorizing is their like thing. They know how to do that. They can, and they remember everything. If you give everyone the same amount of help, there's still going to be people on the bottom. But the equity is giving everyone, each individual person, the amount of education and help that they need to be at that grade level, so to speak. Does that make sense, Isaac?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But that is such a hard thing to do because there's only so many hours in the day and even in the school day that you can't give each student a certain amount of attention, especially in a big school. Um, so I think equity, at least for the school aspect, is and social is just harder to do. Um, and it's harder to think about, and there's just more. It's more tedious to come up with an equity solution about social, race, and gender. Um, and because it's so hard, just people just don't even try to dive into it. And I think that's something a lot of people should do, because equity is another solution other than equality.
Like,
Um,
there's an example I can think of for gender equity,
yeah,
and
go ahead.
it's in relation to the military. And there's, of
Mm,
course, one example that comes to mind is it's going to seem weird, but um, during World War II in the Battle of Stalingrad, one of the things that the Russian army did that seemed almost in a sense preposterous to the German army was that they enlisted women soldiers to fight alongside them. And these women soldiers, specifically, the majority of them were snipers, believe it or not. And
that's
these
cool.
uh, these snipers, I forget the German word for it, but they helped. But they helped fight in what the Germans called like these rat wars. And so it was in these small urban situations, and they were in the bigger picture, whether or not they were an extreme help to the Russians or not, it
Mm,
marks a point in which people of different sexes are able to help fight for the same thing of another sex despite being different. And it also relates to another thing was gays being allowed. I don't know if gays would be a right word to say. I guess someone that identifies themselves as being a homosexual being allowed to serve in the military was
mm,
for the longest time very controversial, and thousands of people would be kicked out because they were openly gay, and it was frowned
yeah.
upon and it was not allowed. But in recent years, we realized that, we push past that idea that because they're gay, they can't serve, and that
Yeah. Yeah.
it comes and that they're possibly not the same level as someone that would be straight serving. And
Mm,
so we allow not even no we not even should say that we allow, but now there's the opportunity for people of that are gay to be able to serve, and there's now the opportunity for women to be able to serve. And another
yeah.
thing that comes to mind is the Navy SEALs. While the SEALs, I think, as of now, is primarily not primarily only made up of men. Women have that opportunity to join, which I think at some point they didn't. And it also relates to black Navy SEALs as well. As of, I believe, I want to say 10 so years ago, there was about 36 black African American Navy SEALs. I actually have a
Wow.
book. I have a book right next to me, and the guy in this book, David Goggins, I think he was the 35th or
Oh,
30.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was the
That guy's
35th
awesome.
or 36th Navy SEAL, African American Navy SEAL, and that was recently. That was, I think, this 2000s or so, or maybe
Yeah.
late 90s or so. And
He's an amazing man. Yeah,
he
I
is
love
freaking incredible. But yeah, there's at least in the I think that what I'm trying to say is that how Avery said that this topic of equality, when you look at it as a whole,
Yeah.
it's extremely vast, but in these small concentrated areas, it can be improved upon.
that. Yeah, that was great. And Lucas, this is perfect that you've actually mentioned military um, equality and equity
Mm.
in the gender aspect because I'm watching a surprise topic on you guys that I just came up with a few days ago about veteran equality and equity. I mean, I just want to start off saying that I've thought about this idea because a lot of veterans don't get the mental support and help they need after a war or after a fight. And that about 20 on average veterans commit suicide every day, and that all adds up. All those terrible incidents add up to more veterans, more people who have served our country committing suicide than those who have died in war, and that's just not okay. That's really not okay. And I think that this is something that we need to make people more aware of, that our veterans deserve the equal help and respect of people with just normal mental illness, because they need it.
Mm.
They can't be doing this. And it's so sad
It
that
is.
we're leaving them in the dark like this.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
What's bedtime?
Um, do you guys what do you guys have to say about the veteran equality on like their mental health and how they're being treated? Just real quick, we can just
Not
touch
right.
this.
End of story. Sorry.
Yeah, not right. Unmute Gaming, what do you think?
Well, honestly, it's like they just said, it's not right. They should still be treated the way that everyone else should be treated, because they did serve and they did help protect our country. And that's probably kind of just like my small little view of it, since I know that we're kind of a little short on time.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Lucas.
Yeah, definitely. I think that there's a stigma that's attached to PTSD that soldiers have, and that it's the typical view that someone might have of a veteran is the washed up bum on the streets. But I think that when these people are denied the help that they need and denied the funding that is required for the research to help them achieve a better mental state, I think that it's extremely discouraging to see. And I think that the support does need to be reached for them.
Yeah, yeah. Leiden.
Wait, isn't someone before me? A couple people?
No, you're next.
Oh, and what is this on? Sorry, I've kind of.
The veteran equality and how they're not being treated up to par with everyone else. Their mental health.
Right. Yeah, I think as was it Tyler or Lucas that just said that, you know, the typical view that someone would think of a veteran as is a washed up
Lucas.
bum on the street.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty, that's a pretty sad thing, but there are also a lot of benefits for veterans. Like you probably see at a restaurant, veterans discount or
Right.
Yeah.
this or that. But yeah, I don't really know much about that, so
Yeah. It's just
also,
it's kind of a straightforward answer. It's
yeah.
Isaac, you.
So I think it's really important that our military does although the military does provide veterans they try and help veterans to get jobs, but I feel like
Yeah.
I hear plenty about the healthcare side too, but from what I've seen, it's just from what I've heard, it just doesn't seem like it's quite enough, especially with mental
Yeah.
health care.
Mm.
There's plenty of, like you said, there's plenty of veterans who kill themselves every day because of the PTSD and depression afterwards that they experience, because
Yeah.
they've laid down their lives, and many have made the ultimate sacrifice to lose their life to protect this country, and it just seems that it's unfair to these people that have made the sacrifice to just kind of ditch them and not help them afterwards.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. That was great. Thank you guys for that. And just for everyone out there, for all the veterans out there, thank you so much for your service and what you've done for us. Thank you. That's straight up. Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't mean
Thank
to
you for
end
your
on a
service.
yeah.
Yes.
Thanks guys for doing that.
Sorry, I completely
Yes.
zoned out. I thought we were
It's
done.
You are fine. And we are wrapping up. I didn't mean to end on such a gloom note, but it's something I wanted to bring up because I think it's very important that everyone's aware. That's what this podcast is about, making people aware. As we're wrapping up, is there any other last comments, questions, thoughts, ideas, or concerns that you guys didn't get to mention that you want to?
You want to know what else? No, wait, no, that doesn't work. Hold on.
Well, I'll go in the order that we've been in. Mute Gamer, do you have any?
I don't really have any questions or whatnot, but can I maybe shout out my YouTube channel if that's okay?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
So go follow me at on YouTube at Unmute Gaming. It's no space, kind of easy. I also have a Snapchat and an Instagram where I kind of post little sneak peeks of content that I will eventually post. So just go check that out. Just wanted to say that real quick, and you guys continue on with what you're doing.
Cool. Thank you. Tyler.
You want to know who else forgot to say something?
Oh my God! I knew it. I knew it.
This is the fourth one.
I know.
Sorry.
Does it for every section we do.
This is fun. This is actually really fun. But probably people agree with me. There are kind of awkward moments, and I think I'll be the person to kind of break it.
You will. Yeah.
Break
yeah.
it.
The comic relief.
Yeah, but like, you know, it's just fun. Don't do stupid things, kids. I don't know. Sorry, I'm like half awake right now.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Lucas, what about you?
No, I don't think I have anything. I think it was a really great time.
Right. Yes. Thank you. Leiden, what about you? Leiden.
She passed out.
Yo. You there?
Oh, sorry, I forgot. I was muted.
I did this thing.
Any last just thoughts, ideas, comments, concerns, questions you have? Anything at all? That's clean.
I think this ended out really well, and I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Isaac.
So I'd like to say I think this was a very good first episode. We definitely talked about some touchy subjects, but I feel like it's something that's necessary to talk about.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be great if we had an official Twitter account for the podcast so that people could interact with us rather than through the YouTube comments.
Yes.
And I'd like to plug my Twitter.
We can. I could. One of us or anyone who volunteers, you could totally make an account.
You make
Twitter
it.
account. Me?
You
okay.
make it.
I'm the overseer.
Yeah. All right. So follow me. So my Twitter account is Isaac Powell. Now bear with me. This is an auto-generated Twitter tag at Isaac PO10838771. So make sure to follow me there. Isn't it? Yeah. Might want to rewind the video a bit just so you can get that in there.
Yeah, don't you worry. I will on the YouTube video there will be in the description there will be links to everything.
Oh yeah. I think you follow me on Twitter, so you should be able to find it. Yes,
I do. Awesome. Yeah, thank you guys. Just stay on until we end it though, just for real quick, just a couple seconds after. Thank you guys, just everyone, the audience, and you guys especially for taking the time out of your day. I know this was supposed to be like about an hour we were expecting, but it's because that it went over. It's because we had so many great things to say, and it went a lot better than I actually thought it would.
Yes.
So
yeah, truly. And I appreciate you actually inviting me to the podcast. I really do appreciate it.
No problem, man.
Thank you for inviting me too. I'm glad to be on.
You're welcome, guys. It was a great experience for everyone and for me. But definitely opened my eyes to a lot of different views.
Another thing, I would love to get more a more diverse cast on the podcast, just because we're talking about race and religion. I think it'd be great if we got a more diverse cast.
Yeah. That would be great. Maybe turn it into a huge thing. But don't forget, my wonderful audience out there. Don't forget to if you're on
like and
anything,
subscribe.
Like and subscribe if you're on YouTube or Facebook. Yeah, smash the like button. And if you're on Spotify or anything else, share this with your friends if you think you enjoyed it. Leave comments and questions below. I'll give you an email you can contact me at for any recommendations about future episodes and how you just feel about it and what we could have done better or worse. But yeah, thank you for listening and tuning in and opening your eyes with your third eye with us on the Psyched Out podcast. And thank you all again. Thank you for joining. So, peace.